Welcome to Animation Principles in the 24th and a half century.
You can export your files from your Harmony into, and make them into Mpegs or QuickTimes. And then you can take those different files. If you have different scenes, hopefully you do, you shouldn't have one giant Harmony file with every single cut in it for your final project, because if that whole file goes down, it's gone. But if you have saved scene 1 in one Harmony file, scene 2 in another, scene 3, and say scene 2 goes down, you can recover it. You'll have all the other scenes that you can output into, export into Premiere. So I'm going to show you how to set up that Premiere file right now. When you open this up, it's going to ask you, first of all, to create a path, to name your project, make sure you know where that's going. Everything else is pretty much standard. It comes in as a default. So, but this is what you get. As soon as you open that kind of opening screen and you figure out what you want it, where you want it to go, it'll pop this up. Of course, right now, I have some information here already. I already have some scenes in here. So I'm going to just bring this over so you can see it a little bit better right in here. So when you open this, these are all turned off like that. And what you do is you go up to import your files. You're going to go up to, first you're going to go to File. You're going to go into Import. And you're going to find, look for the, you're going to have to search to find what one you want. So I have a bunch of files here. So in this thing, you can bring in JPEGs, you can bring in movie files, you can bring in just sound effects or sound. So let's do that right now. So I'm going to show you this one. This is actually a cartoon that was done online in 3 parts. So somehow they didn't want to put it all on one thing. So I'm going to go up and grab the 3rd part here. Remember, you just go to Import, click on that. It takes you to your window. You figure out which one it is. I'm finding the last one that I didn't. Let's see. So this would be this one here, number 3. All right, so this is a good example of how to do a little bit of editing. Now these files have already have sound on them. Usually your situation is you'll probably just have just a visual, no sound. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select my first file right over here by just clicking on it, and I'm going to click and drag it over to my timeline. So there it is. It has sound on here already, so you can hear it. And you can actually see the sound file right here. So this is a pretty good level. Might be a little bit, the sound might be a little soft. So I can always up that if I need to. So this is part 1. So let's just see what we got here. So yeah, that's the last thing. So let's go to part 2. So this would be part 2. Make sure, just kind of hover it over here. It pops up. Yep, there's part 2. Gives you all the information. Grab it and pull it all the way over here like that. And so now I've just created, I've just put 2 scenes on my timeline. Again, these are big sections of a cartoon, but yours will be smaller. And if it is smaller, it's going to be probably looking about this size over here. Show you. It's going to be about this size over here. These little, at the very beginning, right in here. These are very small clips. And if they're too small to deal with, you can just go over and just grab this and pull it one way or the other, and it'll get bigger. It's like zooms in. So you can zoom in to see what this is, what your clip is. And all these clips are from the bin. This is called the bin over here. This is where all the clips are kept. And you just kind of grab your clips and plop them over here. And it automatically kind of lights up when it's activated, it lights up your video one. This is your audio. So down here is your audio channels, and up here is your video channels. Now to make more video or more audio, one more time, right click on this side. So you got to stay on this side of that. And it says add track. And that's where you can add your soundtracks. You can add your, right now I just added a track. Probably don't need it, but it's there. So now it adds more. So actually it usually comes in with I think 3 tracks, but you can also make more tracks. And this is a way of editing. But yeah, so here's your, say there's your title. And if you go up into this window, this is your effects. There's different tabs up here. You can go to different things. So this is effects. I don't need effects, so I'm going to go into editing. I click on editing, it changes this. And so now I can actually move that title card around if I want to. This is its position. This is its scale. This is its rotation. You can change the pivot point, anchor point if you want to. You can do dissolves or you can do fades using the opacity. And all these little things here, this is where you would add or remove a keyframe. So you'd set a keyframe here. Right now it's at 100%. You can just kind of move it a little bit this way. And you could make another keyframe. And you could put that at, you could bring it down to a 0. So what'll happen is as it goes along, you can either press your space bar or you can press this button right here for play. I'm going to push space bar and see how it just faded out. You saw that's what a fade out looks like. So I don't want to fade out right now, so I'm just wanting to show you that's what that is. And if you wanted to do a dissolve, I'm going to get rid of these keyframes right here, else I'll get confused. That's how you remove them. So if I wanted to, instead of cutting to this, I wanted to dissolve. I wanted to make this slowly turn into this title card up here. So what I would do is I have to do what's called checkerboarding. And that's where you actually grab your clip and you pull it up. And then you take this clip underneath and you kind of pull it over a little bit. And this is where you want to do at least maybe a second. So right now I'm at 612. So if I go to about here, well, right now it's at 6. So that's close to 1 second right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fade out this top layer, and it's going to reveal what's underneath it. So if I start my fade over here, what's going to happen is it's going to start to be black. It's going to fade in black, and then this thing's going to pop on, which is not going to look very smooth. Not going to be a very smooth fade. So I get about as close as I can to this. And this is where I would go up to my opacity, and I click that. That's 100. 100% is fully open. I'm going to go to here, my last frame, and I'm going to put another keyframe here. But this time I'm going to change that amount to 100% to 0. So you can click and just kind of move it back like that. You could also just click in here and type 0.0 and it'll pop up there. So now you notice I have a dissolve. So if I play through it with my space bar, I've just made it a dissolve. So I've dissolved from the top layer into the bottom layer. Now there's other tutorials out online. If you look for Premiere Pro, how to move things around in Premiere Pro, whatever. A lot of good tutorials out there. Just take a look, see what you can find. Pretend that these are your clips. All right, so I'm gonna just go to that last thing of this cartoon, which I think is right here. Now, what you do is you just kind of click on here. Whoops. So I can click on this and hold it. Click and hold, and then drag it over and plop it here. Now see what happens? That soundtrack's with it. So as long as I don't mess with this, I can go up to a different layer and it moves my soundtrack with it always. It's connected. If you want, you can actually click on that soundtrack and bring this soundtrack up to here. You can also bring this down to here, like that. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of butt these up together like that. Now, when I say butt it up together, notice as soon as I did that, it just kind of automatically pops up here. You really don't have to press that hard. If you did press real hard, you would be going into it like that. And now it's kind of, it's overlapping and it's going to cut off your thing. So anyway, this is your clip. So your clip goes from one to the next. It's pretty good. Nice. Oh, a little bit of a jump there. You can see that. And this is where you're going to have to zoom in. So we're going to use this bar here to kind of get closer, see what we're doing here. Okay, so this actually allows you to take your clip and figure out, you can actually move your clip around using motions, scaling, things like that. I don't want this right now. You can also use your fade here. And mapping, you can actually slow down this clip, the speed. You can also reverse the clip, make the clip go the opposite direction if you want. These are all more advanced things because we're going to do something where what it's doing is it's going from the last of the beginning, the end of the first take. You see there's a wipe here, and we wipe on and we stow this, and then on the next clip, there's like a jump right there. So what we're going to do is going to go a little closer and try to get rid of that as much as we can. And you can use your your arrow keys on your keyboard, the right and left, can go frame by frame. So here he's kind of edging up to his drink, and then we go to the next clip, and we're going back into this again. He's edging up to the drink. So I'm not sure exactly where that is. You notice that wipe, it's kind of between the two scenes. It's on the last scene here. So I'm going to kind of use that as a register mark. So I'm going to go to my previous scene here, use my arrow keys to kind of flip through it and find that same frame, which looks like I think it's about here maybe. Okay, the wipe is kind of wiped on the wolf. So I'm going to get even closer here because I really have to get this right. I get too far. So now you can actually see how many frames we're on. So here, this is where you can use this. You click on this and you can pull your thing right up to that and just let go. Get too shy of it, it does it here, but I'm going to go about there. And let's see what we got. So there you see the wipe all over, kind of at the top of his head. So that's what we want to do over here, is we're going to find this one, which I believe is right about here. So I'm going to go here to the first. I get that little indicator, I click on it, and I pull it. Click and pull up to that line, I let go. So now I'm going to just look at these two. Yep, they're pretty much the same. Now it is a wipe, so it is moving at one frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go one frame in here, and I'm just going to go to that frame, and I'm going to pull that one more frame over. So there we go. So now you see that if I click in here, I use my arrow key, we're wiping on this guy. The last frame is kind of in here. So the first frame has to be kind of a continuation of that. So we'll do this. Let's just see. I think it's only one frame. Let's see if we can fix it. So we're just going to butt up to this like that. We're going to check, make sure there's no black spots. There's not a black frame in between the two. That looks pretty good. I think we got it. Yeah. So I'm just going back and forth using the arrow keys to go through this frame by frame. So now if I play it at speed. Yeah, smooth. Nice smooth cut right there. I didn't say it yet. Anyway. So we've got that. And let's see, this one. So it's right at the end. So it should be okay. I think this might be all right. I'm going to click this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see how it goes. Just zoom in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it. Sometimes this gets a little touchy. All right, so I'm going to select this. I'm going to bring it all the way over until it connects. There's connected. And now I'm just going to see how it feels. So let's see if it's, yeah, that's pretty good. So these are just ways to attach clips. You can go down to import right here, and you can import your sounds just the same as your clips. They pop in over here. So you can grab the sounds from the bin over here. You can pull them over here. You can set them up. Now with sound is different. Sound, you can actually click on the soundtrack like this. I'm going to click. Right now it's under edit controls, but this controls the picture, the positioning, things like that. And then down here, rotation of the picture, you can fade. If you scroll down over on this little thing, you highlight this and go down, this now goes into the soundtrack. And every time you have a soundtrack come in, it comes in at this level right here. Now, same with whenever you see these little, this little indicator, there's like an arrow going one direction, then you have this dot. This is your keyframe. This is going to the previous frame. This is going to the next keyframe. So what you want to do, if you want to set a keyframe for this, say if you want to fade out the music, you can put a keyframe where you want the music to be at 100% or at 0.0. So say I want to fade that music out or make it, not as loud. I can click on that keyframe, another keyframe of that. Now it's very close together here. You can use this toggle to kind of see and use your arrow keys. So you can show the previous keyframe. This is the next keyframe. We want to affect this. So if we want, we can click on here. We can scroll down. If you're in this area, it's going to make it a little bit, you'll still hear the music. It'll just fade it down a little bit. But if you go all the way to this number right here, which is usually 200, go all the way, it's 281.1. That's completely off. All right, so that's how you can do a fade out. You just do the opposite for the fade in. Let me stop this. Using my key previous, I can go back to the very beginning here. So a fade in, if you're going from silence, you would make this, you would bring this all the way up to that number. You go to your previous frame. Right now it's completely off. And you can click in here like this, and you can push 0.0. Now be careful, don't put letter 0, put number 0. And then when you do that, you just say enter, and that will now fade up. So it'll be silent in here, and then it'll fade up. So you can also see where it fades up using, this is the sound level right here. Let me now show you how you would take all these clips that you've put into Premiere and how do you export them into one single file. Okay, so what you do is you go to Export under File, go to Export, and it'll pop this up. You go to Export and then go to Media. And when you press that Media, it turns on this export settings, brings you into this window right here. And when you first do this, it might not be at this format right here at H.264. So what you want to do is you want to make sure it's at H.264. You're going to set it to that. You're going to go to Custom, right? And here what it's doing is exporting video and it's exporting audio. And down here it says summary. This is the output. This is what it's outputting. This is the file, what it will be. This is your source. This is how big it is right now. Okay. It also, down here, it gives you an estimated file size. That's pretty big right there. But right now, this is like a 47-minute file. That's why it's so big. Okay. So once you have this all set up, you're going to go to Export right over here. You're going to click on that, and it's going to bring up another window, and it's going to render the whole thing out to wherever you put it in your output name. Okay, so there's my path right now. You see that? That's where it's going to go. It's going to make it an Mpeg 4. And that's how you would output your different clips from Premiere Pro. One single video file. In this case, it's an Mpeg 4 with sound and visual. If you have sound, it will put it in there in one track. Let me know if you have any problems, and hopefully that is enough to get you started. So take care, and we'll see you next time on Animated Educated.